Hi, everybody, and I am so happy you're here with us today because I have a super special guest. Her name is Vicki Chisholm, and I am going to let you introduce yourself, Vicki, first. And we're going to have a chat today because Vicki has such an inspiring story. Obviously, we're going to talk about your story today. But yeah, first and foremost, introduce yourself, Vicki.
Hello, everybody. As Noleen says, my name is Vicki Chisholm. I'm a psychic transformation coach, and I help spiritual entrepreneurs get paid for their magic and their gifts, crafting soul aligned offers, working through the money mindset, and also doing the energetic shizzle as well. I've been doing this now since 2018, and I started training in 2017, and I just absolutely love this work. It has changed my life and has given me an opportunity to change the lives and businesses of others.
Absolutely love it. And in fact, you touched on two things in there, which actually I would love to talk about more, which are part of your story. So, the fact that you are a spiritual entrepreneur, but you're also working a lot with people on their money mindset, on how to actually make money. Because let's be honest, right? Like, we don't have a business if we don't make money. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with making money, there's nothing wrong with selling. So, I would love to touch on your story and your journey about that. So, I know that your story, I'd seen something like this on your Instagram where you were saying that, you went from making £10 an hour to now having a six-figure spiritual business as a spiritual entrepreneur. And I just loved the story that you shared. So I would love you to actually expand on that now, Vicki, and let everybody else know that story as well.
Okay, so that particular story relates to when I first started out in business.
Mm.
So I was mid 20s. I had three children under the age of 8. I had just deemed myself completely and utterly unemployable after a full time job, being on call, trying to manage three kids, dealing with nursery fees of £1,200 a month, being exhausted, being diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, PTSD, having a child with a life threatening condition, and trying to navigate the additional learning needs that we didn't know much about at the time. And yeah, I just realized that I can't be employed. There is nobody in this planet that's going to employ someone that's this unreliable right now. So every time one child got sick, I would have 3 weeks where the kids would be sick. And it would be like, well, how am I supposed to show up and go to work and be human and do the things and be mum and provide? So I decided to set up my own business doing something that I loved, and that was administration, organisation, bringing things together, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, making things really pretty. And I set up as a virtual assistant. But at the time, I was also living through domestic abuse. So when it came to self esteem, confidence, self worth, I had zilch, absolutely none. And it was really quite challenging to build a business when you can't believe in yourself, when you don't see the good that you have to share with the world, and you are literally just on your knees as an empty shell. You have no identity. So I found it really hard to sell my services, so to speak, without selling my soul. So I sold my soul instead, and became very good at what I did, but didn't earn a lot of money. And £10 an hour would often be much less than what I was actually providing. So I might have been working 3 hours, but that particular job might have had some technical hitches, and it might have taken me 8 hours because of technology or something else that had come in, and I'd only charged £30, but I'd gone a whole day in my business where I had only earned £30. And that was a really hard journey for me to go on. And bearing in mind, I'm completely clueless in business anyway. I'd always been employed, so I didn't know what I was meant to be doing, or how to effectively get clients, and how to grow, and how to be the leader, and how to be an expert in my field, and show up on social media, because back then it was still very new. But I learnt very quickly. So as time progressed, and the dog's just coming to say hello. So as as time progressed, I started going out and networking and meeting new people. And through networking and meeting new people, I was starting to learn a little bit more about business development. I had a beautiful, amazing business coach take me under her wing, and she's like, "Well, let's just start at the beginning, Vicky. What is it you want?" And I sat there and looked at her and I went, "What do you mean, what do I want?" She went, "What do you want? Come on, let's dream big, let's do more." I had no idea how to answer that question.
Mm. Yeah.
And I was totally bewildered.
Mm.
Everyone else is sitting there writing all this stuff out, getting really excited about everything that they've got going on. And then there was me, like, um, I hadn't even considered what it meant to dream, what it meant to set big goals. And so I was sitting there like, what do I do with this? She went, "Well, just allow yourself to just dream for 5 minutes." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I'll never, ever, ever forget this day.
Mm.
So I drew this plane.
Oh,
And
yeah.
on this piece of paper was this plane with me and my children. And in that moment was when I decided one day I will travel the world with my kids.
Mm.
And that was the start of me opening up to what's possible. Is it possible? Can I dream bigger? Well, you've just done it, so it's tangible. Then as time progressed and moved on, I learned more things. I added to my skill set. I learned and watched everybody around me. I was very much that hungry entrepreneur out there in the world going, yes, 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 let's do it, do it, do it. And over time, I
Mm.
had begun to generate quite a good business. Doesn't mean I was cash rich, because believe me, I really wasn't. I had a lot of expenses, because then I discovered that I had other issues underneath that I had to work through. So not only was I working through confidence, not only was I working through building up a business that I didn't have a clue what I was doing, I didn't even know what I wanted. I also then had major money mindset issues. I'd only ever known poverty, so this whole can of worms just came at me. And in 2016, I burnt out, and after burning out and obviously winding down the business and stuff, I had a look at the figures and went, "Well, you didn't do too bad, did you?" Because it was beyond a
Mm.
six-figure business. And I
Wow.
was like, "Oh," and that gave me a little bit of confidence
Mm.
to know that even though it felt like I was running the hamster wheel and I was constantly grinding away, I did make some huge successes in that business. And I was also very well known for what I did in my area, and I had a very good reputation, a very good network. So it was really quite amazing how it all unfolded and came together. So yes, I went from £10 an hour, a struggling mother, living through domestic abuse, chronic fatigue, autoimmune disease, a child with additional needs and health conditions, and yeah, I turned that into a six-figure turnover.
Wow. That there's just so many elements of that story that
I
are just
know.
so like even if you just took one of them, it would be inspirational by itself,
Yeah.
But again, I'd love to go back to that bit that you were saying there as well about when you worked with your coach and she asked you like what do you want, and I feel that that's something that so many people are stuck on, and I'll put my hand up, and I was definitely one of those as well, especially when I went from working in my corporate career to then being a business owner, and it's like, oh, I can actually like really like achieve all this. So I'd love to talk to you a bit more about that, like like what advice do you have for people to really tap into like A, allowing themselves to even do this, right? And then B, to also maybe say, how is it possible to start making that happen for themselves?
Well, this is actually one of the reasons why I've crafted the free PDF that I have.
Mhm.
And I believe that if more people got a little bit more clarity over what they want to offer
Mhm.
and they infused it with passion, energy, and joy, then they would make more sales,
Yeah.
first and foremost. And
Mm.
I think when you're in that mindset of, I don't know what I want,
Mm.
it's hard to force it.
Mm. Yeah.
So I always suggest that let's not force it. Let's just let the intuition step forward, because when you're in that space of I don't know what I want, you're coming from a space of fear.
Yeah.
Fear of asking for what I want, fear of saying what I want and then never receiving it. And it takes you back to a childhood wound. And it also takes you back to past life wounds. Now I'm totally going off on a tangent here, so bear with me. Because it could be that in a previous life or in a childhood, you
Mm.
have received something that you really, really wanted, and then it was taken away from
Yeah.
you, or you were punished for having it,
Yeah.
or some story. There is always a story around that.
Mm.
So a lot of people don't feel comfortable asking for what they want
Yeah.
because they're afraid of what that would actually mean for them. And that takes me to the other side of the coin, where they're so afraid of having what they want because it would mean change, and they're afraid of change, therefore they're not open to receiving what they want because they don't know what that change means for them. And then that keeps them stuck in the lack of clarity as well. So there's so many different aspects of where we're at, where we're going, how do we break through, how do we get unstuck, how do we change the dynamics of where we are. So one of the things that I learned to do was dream day journaling.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it was a case of I'm just going to talk to myself as I'm writing about what I truly want and desire. It's just a conversation between me and my higher self. It's not a conversation for anybody else. I would even take the piece of paper outside and burn it afterwards and let it be dissolved and go off so that, we're not holding on to anything. We haven't got an attachment to anything. I just allow myself to write and dream bigger. It's almost like going back into that childlike state of daydreaming, sitting there in class looking out the window, thinking of all those families that are going on holiday and they've got all the designer things and the big houses, and you're sat there in your PE top knowing that your school jumper's got a hole in it. Your dad's probably still sitting in the pub and he won't be there when you get home, and you've got other things going on. So you go back to that childhood state of let's just dream and take yourself away from where you are. But this is a really powerful manifestation process, which I didn't realize I was doing at the time either.
Mm.
So the more I got comfortable with dream day journaling
Yeah.
and allowing myself to just be present rather than putting my pressure on myself. Oh, I have to reach this goal. Oh, I have to reach this financial goal. Or I have to do this and I have to do that. And then building up all those emotional feelings inside. It was just a nice way to get clarity of dreaming bigger.
Yeah.
What is inside my heart space?
Mm.
How can I then open up a little bit more? So if I started today and said, I don't know when and I don't know how,
Mm.
but my life's going to change because,
Mm.
and then I just entered in because I treated myself to breakfast in a cafe,
Mm.
because I took my laptop to go and work in a scenic environment,
Mm.
because I chose to go on that walk.
Mm.
And you start with the basics of things that you do enjoy and then just expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm.
Does that answer the question? I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah, I mean, I'm actually a smile on my face even listening to this because it's like it just, as you said, it's about going back like you were in a child when you were a child almost, and you're just allowing yourself to daydream. And I think that there's so much like heaviness sometimes people are, and a lot of the time we take it on ourselves, right? It's actually not really there. It's just we think it has to be heavy or difficult, and it isn't. And when, as you said, like when we just allow ourselves that, like even just those basics, like to dream even like something small that's maybe a little bit bigger than what we have now, it's like okay, and it gets the ball rolling, and it's about having that like curiosity and just putting the fun back in it, like business should be fun, everything should be fun, no matter what we're doing, and we can make it fun, even the most mundane thing. And yeah, like I just absolutely loved what you said there. And it's God, it's definitely something I'm going to be doing myself actually now. Because I'm like, ooh, I love stuff like that. Like I was definitely one of those daydreamers.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'd also love to ask you as well, Vicky, then, because obviously you have come so far from where you started to where you are now. I would love to know, like, what are your like what is it that you want now? Like, what is it that you say, like, for example, you would like to maybe change or have, say, in 2024? And like, what's your big mission, maybe, for your business now and the next level? Mm.
Okay, so what do I want in
Mm.
2024?
Yeah.
Well, I'm already doing it. So this is
Mm.
the exciting part.
Yeah.
So 2024, I'm looking for global expansion. I'm already a global international coach and I serve all over the world.
Mm.
But there is just that deeper depth. I want to go to the next depth,
Yeah.
and I really want to create a community where spiritual entrepreneurs are no longer alone.
Yeah.
and I want to bring them all together.
Mhm.
So I've already started that, and it's called the Global Expansion Project. Noleen, you're part of that.
Yeah.
You so we started with the
Mm,
Advent this December, and then moving into January, we've got two networking opportunities every single month. We've got a monthly online and live summits.
mm,
Some will be pre-recorded, some will be live throughout the year, but there is going to be 12 summits through 2024. Then on top of that, I've actually got some speaking opportunities where I'm going to be showcasing what I do to
mm,
help you to transform. And what else have we got going on? There's the business directory, we can get listed. So it's really about visibility, because my mission, to answer your second question,
mm.
my mission right now is to get more spiritual entrepreneurs earning and creating impact.
Yeah.
So the impact really does come first, but
Mm,
I am very much in that space of it's time and I'm being pushed, and I can feel myself being pushed
yeah.
by the universe at the moment of, come on, we need you. We need you to step into your leadership now, Vicky. Come on, let's go. We need your voice. And that is because spiritual entrepreneurs are the game changers. They are the change makers. They are the ones that are going to come in and change the world as we know it for future generations. So my mission is to get
Mm,
more spiritual entrepreneurs out of the
mm,
closet
yeah.
and into the light
Yeah.
of being seen, of being heard, and ultimately being hired. Because the more impact they have, the more ripple effects, the more tidal wave, the more centered and balanced this world is going to be. Not only that, the next generation are coming in so awake, and they need us to be able to hold that for them. So all the while we've got spiritual entrepreneurs hiding behind the scenes, not bringing their magic, not changing the world. Our next generations are not benefiting, and then that's making us get stuck in a world where we're still listening to the freaking news, and we're still listening to the fear-based media,
Yeah.
and we're still getting caught up in the, dare we say it, COVID. Don't even want to say it, I'll just spell it.
Yeah.
And all of that trauma that's still
Yeah.
residing there
Yeah.
from what we're being told is true, and it's not true.
Yeah.
So my mission is to make sure we're reaching all the people we need to reach through 2024. We're bringing them together and we're building a community
Yeah.
for that global expansion. And the more spiritual entrepreneurs that are out there, no longer hiding, no longer underselling themselves because it's a gift and it shouldn't be sold. Mm-mm.
Mm,
No,
yeah.
definitely need to change that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Oh my God, 1,000%. And I am just sitting here like, this is why I am involved in this with you as well, because our mission is so aligned. Like, it is exactly, I have the same mission. Obviously, we do it in different ways, but that's why coming together, I think, is great. I'm 100% behind it because, yeah, I totally agree. Obviously, I do a lot around visibility, but specifically on video, and I see this all the time. In fact, I probably was one of those. Oh no, I know I was one of those people who was sitting and hiding and was afraid to sell. And now I'm like, no. And one of my big missions as well this year is helping people with the selling side of being on video, the selling side of visibility. Because, okay, some people then they are showing up maybe a little bit, but then they're not selling. But that's how, as you said, that's also how we make the impact. That's how we make the ripple effect that we want, because we're taking that next, helping people to get to that next level. Yes, they can look at our free stuff. They can, that's all great, but how they're gonna make that transformation is by working with spiritual entrepreneurs, people like ourselves, you know.
Mm.
And again, I see it all the time. People almost apologizing for selling. Oh, I'm sorry. No, like that's what you're supposed to do, right? We have to get away from this. Why should we be scared to sell? Oh, I don't want to be salesy or spammy. I know that if you are in this space, you are 1,000% not salesy or spammy, right? So that's why I love the mission that you have, and I think we're so aligned when it comes to this, Vicky.
Mhm.
And this actually is going to lead me down to the next question, because you kind of touched on it there. Is around the Advent calendar, or sorry, it's not even a calendar, the Advent Extravaganza, I should say, to call it its
Yes,
correct
no.
name. And can you tell everybody about that, please, Vicky?
I can indeed. So, I had this really crazy nudge from the universe. I think it was the beginning of November. So I really did not have a lot of time to pull this together. And my mission was, whoop. out there. And I did run with it to start off with, and we got smaller numbers than I was anticipating. But do you know, it doesn't matter because I firmly believe it's all happening as it's meant to.
Mhm.
So, long story short,
Mm.
I woke up one Sunday morning and I was just pottering around the house. Normally, I would do some journaling, have a cup of tea, do some things that I want to do. And this particular day, it was just like, nope, you're just going to do your own thing and you're going to potter today. Okay, fine. Grabbed a cup of tea, pottering around the house, and boom, just like that, out of nowhere, this massive download comes in, plops me on the head, and it was like, oh my gosh, I have to run with this. Oh, this is big. Okay, this is exciting. And I just went with it and went with it. And then I was like, this is really, really huge. I need to process this as what I'm receiving. And I need to just sit with this for a minute because I don't really know where this is going or how this is going to pan out, but I know I need to accept it somehow. So I took myself off, dragged my daughter and the dogs with me. My daughter had a friend over as well. They were not impressed with me by the end of the day, I'll tell you this. Because we went for a 7-mile walk.
Ooh.
And in the space of 3 hours, I had just constructed a whole 12-month global expansion strategy to take this magic and bring more spiritual entrepreneurs together. And it was just like, how? Most people can't construct a strategy in a day, let alone in 3 hours with global expansion. So I was like, all right, okay, this isn't just my thinking brain of being creative. This is a sole purpose, deep dive into a quite an explosive and big project, which gets me excited. So with that came the Advent Extravaganza, and I was going to run a 24-day Advent. And then because of the numbers were a bit low and some people didn't get their bits in, and I was getting a little bit stressed, and I went, enough. We're going to chop it down. We're going to do, I think it was 11 days in the end. So we've got 11 days of an Advent calendar coming out, but it's through email, not through the popping open doors like I normally do. And we've just run with it and we've just gone. And the masterclasses that have come through are really powerful. The content that's being shared is really magical. Those that are signing up are like, wow, this is great. So we're already starting making that impact. And I was talking to my coach about it at the start because even she was like, what the actual FT? This is huge. When are you going to rest? I don't know. People say you sleep when you're dead, right? Let's just run with it. So yeah, so I think the start of this expansion was to really just put it out there, get started. So the Advent is the start of it, which is where we're bringing people into our world for the spiritual connection and business growth. And then 2024 is where we're going to start really building and honing in on those connections and elevating it to the next level. So every month for the next 12 months, we have got 2 networking calls. We've got an online summit, and it's just going to be completely and utterly magically insane. And if it all fails and I fall flat on my ass with it, I'm still going to be proud that I've stepped in, listened to the nudges, and run with it anyway. So that's kind of how it's all come about, and it just keeps growing and expanding. I'm like, oh my god, how much bigger is this going to get? Yeah, but just wanted to touch base because I was like, it's so there, it's so in my mind. And it came up today in the Spiritually Aligned and Wealthy masterclass that I hosted. And someone joined, and they were like, oh, I just feel so confused and so conflicted about how to bring it all together. And something that I have seen, which is a massive gap in the market, is also a lot of the reason why spiritual entrepreneurs are not selling is because they're not in alignment with their offers. And this is something that gets me really, really excited because when you've got an offer and you look at it and you go, oh, yes, I'm happy with this. I'm really excited about this. I know where it's going to go. That's when the offer is going to transform your business. If you're creating offers and just sticking them out there and going, oh, I'll run that one, that, oh, yeah, I'll just do that. And you haven't got the energy, the motivation, the passion, or the alignment with it, then you are missing out big time in your business. And it's time to change that. So if you take nothing else away from this video, go and check out your offers, make sure they're in alignment, make sure they light you up, make sure your clients go, that's exactly what I need, and move with it as quickly as you can. So I just wanted to throw that bit in there.
Love that. Love it. You are so right. And this is something again that came up recently. I was working with a client and we were doing something similar. And again, I would add another element to that because this was where her was as well. The reason she was out of alignment, she didn't even realize she was. And this actually happened to me as well, myself, by the way, this year. Was sometimes we end up we start getting into our comfort zone and we're going through the motions. So for me, what I was finding, for example, was I had been offering the same things for a while and I was liking it, but it was my comfort zone. And then all of a sudden it wasn't working the way I wanted. And I was like, why? And I thought, oh, was it the offers? But actually it was like, no, it's time to actually up level, you know? So a bit like what you were saying about yourself as well. And I think that's another area as well where like I see a lot of especially spiritual entrepreneurs and they're charging very little for those offers because they think, oh well, people only will only ever pay that, but they start to become out of alignment because they're almost burnt out from offering this thing for so little. But actually that's then them, when that starts to happen, it's time for them to look as well and say, well actually I'm ready for my level of expansion. So that's actually how they're also going to help their clients expand as well, you know. So I totally agree with you. Yeah, you know, and it is something that needs to be looked at. Yeah, and I think we all need to do that every now and again. You know, no matter who you are, whether you're $1 million, you know, entrepreneur or you're $1 entrepreneur, you know, it's something we all need to, because that's what how we evolve, isn't it? You know, and
It is
expand.
completely and
Yeah.
utterly. It's just one of those,
Mm,
when you've
mm,
got this, you've got
mm.
this.
Yeah.
And one thing I have
Mm,
found as well
mm.
is you can also outgrow what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So checking in with what you're offering, the
Mm,
pricing around that offer, and
yeah.
what you're delivering on a regular basis will really help you
Mm,
keep going and stay in
yeah.
alignment.
Mm,
It's really hard to watch someone in misalignment
yeah.
try and move forward and build on
Yeah.
the basis of misalignment, because it
Yeah.
sucks and it's
Yeah.
horrible being there. And I
Yeah.
think it's only once you've been there that you recognize it in others.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that it's really important to just get back into alignment, know where
Yeah.
you're going, know where
Mm,
you want to be delivering, know who you want to serve. And this was
mm,
something else I found as well. Like, stop focusing on who you think you should
mm.
serve and
Yeah.
focus on who your dream client is.
Yeah.
Because the dream client is going to make you enjoy your business 10 times more than the misaligned client who's only going to pay you this much for your work and then give you loads of problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that actually brings us right nicely back to where we started. It's about tapping into what do I want? And that
Yeah.
includes who do I want to work with? What do I want to offer? It's that's also part of that dreaming big and allowing yourself to do what's right for you and to have all of that as well, isn't it? You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Completely and utterly.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Completely agree.
Okay, well, I'd love to finish up with just a couple of last things. First of all, Vicky, can you tell people where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me in my Facebook group
Mhm,
mainly.
mhm.
Hang out in there quite a bit. That's the Spiritual Entrepreneur Growth Group on Facebook. Then you'll also find me on Instagram, which is the Spiritual Entrepreneur Hub.
Okay, great. And I'll leave the links for those down below. And I know you're on Facebook and I think you're on LinkedIn as well, actually, are you? But I can leave the links for the other two. And also, I'll also leave the link for the Advent Extravaganza. Do you want to just explain a little bit about how that's working as well at the moment, Vicky?
Yes, of
Mm,
course. So, yes, go and get yourself signed up to the Advent Extravaganza
mm,
because you haven't
mm,
missed out on anything. But
mm,
what is happening is every day up until the
mm,
26th, emails are coming out to you with different gifts in each day.
mm,
So, with that, all you need to do is sign up and see what tomorrow's gift is. We've got some really powerful gifts this week, really powerful. So make sure you're in there.
mm,
And then what's going to happen is you're going to receive a bundle with
mm.
everybody's gift on it. So you can go and access it as a whole, and that will come to you just after Christmas. So, in fact, it might even be on Christmas. I'm not sure. I can't remember the ins and outs of everything, but you want the full bundle. You want to be able to access all those gifts because I think there's like nearly £3,000 worth of
Yeah,
gifts inside.
yeah,
Um, Everyone has given something for free, and then there is an opportunity to upsell and stuff. I've put something out actually, which is a charity bundle that has gone out this week because we're trying to raise some funds for a veteran charity as well. So
mm,
yes, there's lots going on,
yeah,
definitely lots of magic. I mean, this morning, there was a Akashic Records
Yeah.
half-an-hour healing session, which was really powerful.
Mm.
We've got another divine transformation. We've got business boot camps. We've got your video masterclass,
Yeah.
Noleen. We have got, I've added in energetically releasing your blocks. I've added in a 28 day to personal power, which is the program I created back in 2019 when I was recovering from quite extensive long-term abuse and trying to just get myself back into being a normal human being again. And that course itself is changing lives every single day. So I've gifted that as well. There's just so much inside. So please don't hesitate. It's completely free to sign up, and all the gifts will be given to you. So enjoy.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can doubt as well for anybody who is thinking, oh, this is just a load of freebies I'll get, you know, I've already got enough. It's not about that. First of all, you decide what you want to access. So you don't have to actually, you know, if you don't want everything, that's fine. You can pick and choose what you want. And the other thing as well, I wanted to add about it is that it's not just business stuff, there's also personal development. So it's almost like you have the best of both worlds. You have the business growth that you need, but also the personal development side of it as well. So for example, you mentioned there, Vicki, your one about energetically releasing limiting beliefs. I actually downloaded that when I've actually started. I'm halfway through it at the minute, and it's really, really good. But again, there's the Akashic Records one. There's some really, really good stuff. Obviously, I'm going to give my one a plug because my one is in there, and I think mine is coming out on Friday. No, sorry, tomorrow, actually, the 21st.
21st,
21st of
yeah.
December, mine will be out. So make sure you go and get that. And it is massively, if any, you know, spiritual entrepreneurs or any entrepreneurs watching this, you know, and you're not being visible and you want to raise your visibility, especially on video, then absolutely get your hands on this. It's really, really going to help you with that because you know, I can't emphasize this enough. I know video scares so many people, or they think it's this really thing, this hassle that you have to do, but it is not. It is an absolute game changer for your business because when people see you and hear you, it is completely different. They get this, they literally do pick up on your energy. They visualize what it's like to work with you, and it can genuinely be the difference between somebody working with you and not. You know, even what's great about video is it will you know, we always talk about the 7 to 24 steps or whatever it is before someone will buy from you. A video, they might see one video and that's it. That just they decide they want to work with you. So, you know, if you want to get out there in a big way and make an impact, video is the best way to do it. It really is. And I know it might sound I'm biased, obviously, but it's because it works. It works for me, it works for my clients. And, you know, I never buy something now unless I've seen someone on the video.
No, I
So, you
completely.
know, it really is because then I feel, oh, I like that person. Oh, I love their energy. And, you know, so yeah, so get your hands on that. But again, as Vicki said, there's so many other amazing things in there as well. So it really is a great opportunity to do this. So again, I'll leave the link down below for that as well. I just want to say a massive big thank you, Vicki, for coming on and chatting today. It's been so amazing listening to you. You're so, speaking of video, I mean, look at this lady, like you can, you know, you could read your stuff, but seeing you and hearing you on video is just so much better. It's like you really pick up how charismatic you are, your beautiful energy, and hearing you, you know, speak about your inspirational story and your journey in your own words. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. I had goosebumps listening to you, Vicki. So yeah, it's been amazing. And everybody go and check out this incredible lady. She is so lovely as well and so kind and generous as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Vicki. And thank you everyone for watching.